morning, algebra students. We're looking at notes for Unit 3, Lesson 6, coin problems and finding mistakes. So we're going to start with this first example, and before we fill in the don't forget to, we're just going to jump right into the example, and then we're going to come back and do that afterwards. So, Joe has twice as many quarters as he does nickels. He has 3 times as many dimes as quarters, increased by 8. Altogether, Joe has $14.60 in coins. How many dimes does Joe have? So immediately I'm seeing with all the words here that this is one of those translating problems mixed into a money problem here. So I'm seeing that we're talking about quarters, nickels, and dimes here. So I'm going to start off with my basic let statements. Quarters equals nickels equals and dimes equals. So thinking back to those translating tips, we're looking for the one that has the least amount of information. Who is the one that keeps getting compared? So Joe has twice as many quarters as he does nickels. So that's comparing the quarters to the nickels. So this sentence is about the quarters. He has 3 times as many dimes as quarters. So this sentence is about the dimes compared to the quarters. What we don't have is a sentence about the nickels. So that leads me to believe that nickels is my plain old X. So then if he has twice as many quarters as nickels, quarters would be 2x. And then for dimes, he has 3 times as many dimes as quarters, increased by 8. So 3 times the number of quarters is what I'm reading there. 3 times quarters increased by 8. So 3 times my quarters increased by 8. And I'm just going to simplify that. 3 times 2x is just 6x plus 8. We are not distributing the 3 to the 8 in this example because the sentence said 3 times as many dimes as quarters increased by 8. If it had wanted the 8 to be multiplied by 3, it would have said 3 times the sum of the number of quarters and 8. Then you would know that it has parentheses around the whole thing. Okay, so you might think that this is where we can go ahead and use that last little piece of information about having that total of 1460, where we would just be able to add all these up and set it equal to 1460. However, the problem is that this 1460 is money, and right now these expressions are just representing the number of quarters and the number of nickels and the number of dimes, not how much they're worth. So this is where we come back to the don't forget to. So don't forget to multiply each expression by its worth. So when I say by its worth, I mean either, 0.25, 0.05, 0.10 for those number of cents. So quarters are 25 cents. Nickels are 5 cents. Be careful not to put 0.5 for nickels because we know 0.5 is really 0.50 or 50 cents. And when nickels are not 50 cents, they're 5 cents. And then dimes is going to be times that 0.10. So now I can use those expressions with the worths multiplied in to get this total of 1460 that I'm just going to rewrite. So 2x times 0.25 plus 0.05x plus, I'm just going to move that 0.10 out in the front. So so it looks a little bit more normal, equals that $14.60 there. And this is where you can use your calculator to do this math for these decimals. So 2 times the 0.25 obviously is going to give me 50, so 0.50x plus 0.05. And this is very easy to make mistakes on with these decimal points, so make sure you're being very careful. 6 times 0.1 is just plain 0.6x, and 0.8 times, 8 times 0.1 is 0.8. Okay, and now we just add together. So the 0.5 plus the 0.6 plus the 0.05 gives me 1.15x. Swoop, swoop, and swoop. Plus that 0.8, still equal to the 1460, minus that 8/10. 1. Here. Okay, so now 1460 minus the 8/10 is 13.8. And last but not least, divide by that 1.15. And we get a nice normal answer of x equals 12. However, like most equations and stuff that we've been working on, it's important that we go back and make sure that we've answered the question here. The question was asking me, how many dimes does Joe have? X is the number of nickels. So there's 12 nickels. That's the number of nickels. But we wanted dimes. So to find the number of dimes, I need to use that expression. And now keep in mind, it says how many, not how much money. So it's important to distinguish that. So then, I'm going to use my dimes expression and the fact that x is equal to 12. So number of dimes is equal to 6 times 12 plus 8. 6 times 12 is 72, plus 8 is 80. So there are 80 dimes. For my final answer. So when you're doing these coin problems, don't forget to multiply each expression by its worth. Don't forget the worth.